Hey folks, welcome to eCommerce 360. Today we have Marcel Bensen, who's the founder of Bensen Watch Company. Bensen was recently named amongst the top Black-owned watch brands in the United States by New York Times. So, hey, Marcel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, Marcel, your backstory is very inspiring and very motivating. It would be great to hear it from you.
Yes. My passion for watches started when I was 7 years old. I got my first timepiece at 7 years old and wore it, for years to come, and kind of developed this relationship with time and watches, and started collecting pieces over the years, and accumulated about 100 pieces, between the age of 7 and the age of 25. And I went the traditional route of going to school, because at the time that was like a huge expectation from my parents. Me being first generation college, but it was somewhere after college and going into my career that I realized that I wasn't truly fulfilled, and I wanted to spend my time doing something that I actually was passionate about and loved. And that's how, Bensen Watch Company, came to be.
That's great. That's very inspiring. So, before we get into how you left your corporate job to get into entrepreneurship, what were kind of the roadblocks that you thought you might have entering into this entrepreneurship space? Because I believe you had no idea. I mean, of course, you had the passion and you had the purpose, but when you actually come to, putting it all in practicality, how did you go about overcoming the challenges of entrepreneurship that probably you would have faced, right? First generation entrepreneur, I'm supposing. So, what were the challenges and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think my ignorance to the challenges and obstacles is actually what effectively helped me overcome them, because I probably wouldn't have moved had I known all the things that lied on the other side that I'd be met with. Right, like if I knew that I would lose money, and I would have like less time, and I'd be spinning my wheels in the wrong direction. I probably would have just stayed in this safe space. So I think the ignorance was kind of a blessing in a sense, because I was able to make that move, and I had the ultimate belief in myself, which I think is the most powerful tool when going into something that may present challenges or obstacles. So I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and that I would at every turn do what I had to do to be successful. But yeah, I would definitely say that not knowing everything was definitely like a great thing in that moment.
Blessing in disguise, amazing. And the caption that you have for Benson Watches is truly inspiring. It says time should be spent doing what you love. How did you stumble upon this mantra, or it just come to you, or did you always think about it as you're growing up, and how did you go about making it your company culture?
Yeah, like Benson Watch Company is a lot more than just a watch company. It's really like an ethos and a belief, right? The watches are just like a physical representation or symbol of something that I think is ever present in many people, right? Like I knew that even in when I was going the route of working a job and going to school to get my degree, that there was something about the steps that I was taking that was a bit inauthentic. There was something about like the road that I was on that didn't seem like it was 100% me, because there was so many things that I was doing to try to fit like a certain mold. So, time should be spent doing what you love it really wasn't intended for anybody at the time except me. It was my way of navigating life in a new way, after deciding, to make a decision that would ultimately change my life. I didn't know exactly how, but I had the feeling that, finally following my heart would lead me into, the place that I needed to be. And it turned out to, to prove itself to be true. So, time should be spent doing what you love is really you just taking ownership of your life and your time. And I think that when people, really dig into my story and really follow, because a lot of my story is documented, they'll see that this is something that I really had to learn for myself and, begin to put into practice myself. And, I found that when you are spending your time doing what you love, the universe has an amazing way of, giving you everything that you need. And, internal transformation begins to take place because you're choosing yourself and you get to, just go on this beautiful journey of discovering yourself and learning more about, the world around you.
Absolutely, very simple concept, but truly magical when you put it the way you put it, right? So recently you raised 1 million in crowdfunding. So I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs get into business starting mode really quick, but once they hit the road running, it can come all to a standstill. Once you have to scale the company, once you have to have people, manage people, and then drive the vision through the people who you're managing, it's going to be all difficult. So how do you go about continuing to scale Benson watches after the crowdfunding?
So before I answer that, I do want to make a correction. So there was, in this particular round, there was 400,000 raised. We do plan on ultimately raising $1 million, but it will be it'll be in a following round, which will be coming up soon for people who may be interested. But yeah, after raising the funds from crowdfunding, it just really provided the opportunity to start adding a little bit of speed to some things that we had in place. It took a while to get to a place where there was a strong foundation and we were poised for for proper growth. But we were, able to get there through trial and error, making mistakes. Like the journey has not been perfect. But finally I've been able to, build up a strong enough community of people, who've purchased, some people who are just like, spectators and support the company, who decided that they wanted to see Benson go to the next level. So, we did the crowdfunding, and now we're able to hire the right talent and bridge the inventory gap that is ever present and in the product space, like eliminating gaps in the year from not having enough inventory and things like that. So it's allowing the business to flourish and mature like in the proper way.
Awesome. So, taking a slight detour, today happens to be Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, and you're working, which is, I think that's how founders are. So, looking at his life, are there any of the life lessons that you have taken away and imbibed in your life, or do you have any favorite quotes of his?
Yeah, so I have a favorite quote, and I also have a moment that was captured in a photo. I can't think of the photographer's name, but I remember like seeing this photo of Martin Luther King Jr. He was leaving out of a restaurant, and like he had like the peace sign up, and like he had on like he wasn't in his normal element of being serious and mission driven. He was really just enjoying that moment, right? So what that told me was that, even, with the burden and sometimes stress of being the leader of a critical movement where such a large, group of people are being impacted, there's still always room to enjoy life and be present in the moment. So when I saw that, I was just like, wow, like I finally saw him in the, of having a full range of human emotions instead of just being this figure who was always, preaching a specific message. So that's one thing that I love. One moment that I loved about him. We also, share birthday months, and we went to the same.
Wow.
We went to the same college. He's a Morehouse College graduate.
Wow.
So there's the connection there. And as far as quotes, one of the best quotes that he ever said, in my opinion, was something that I had to truly, practice in my life, when he said that, faith is taking the first step, without seeing the whole staircase. And, being an entrepreneur, there's so many times where you have to, take that first step without seeing the rest of the staircase, not knowing, what the next thing is. But even in that quote, he's exercising faith, because who's to say that there's even a staircase when you take that first step? You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I just thought that it was beautifully said and written. And it's something that I practice on a daily basis. And when I do interviews like this, when I talk to people, they're always just like, like, what made you keep going? And I'm like, where do you see yourself in this amount of years? It's like, you never really know these things, but life happens in you moving forward, like, without knowing. Like when I first, just to put some perspective to this, when I first started Benson, I ran to Michael's to get like some color pencils and a sketch pad. And I just started like drawing like different. I couldn't even like really draw at the time. I'm not like a born artist. Like, I had to teach myself. And I couldn't really even draw at the time. And I'm trying to, just sketch little, put things together. And I had no idea that, 5 years down the road, that I would be, selling, pieces in places like MGM or Macy's, or that people would want to invest in my company. I had no clue how all of that would gel together. But because I took that first step of going to get the pad, there was new inspiration that was invited into my world after that. And then I again walked out on faith and did that thing, and then something else was revealed to me. So I think that it's a consistent taking that step without seeing the staircase, and then eventually, you get to a place where you're just comfortable, like, taking those steps, and you still like, it's not a destination, right? Our entire lives will always be arriving. Not arriving, but we'll always be striving. Yeah. And never really arriving at a specific destination, but just always going to that next, step, and being revealed something new. So, to me, that quote was just, magical, and I definitely live by that.
Amazing. So one step at a time, just keep yourself moving forward. That's amazing. So that brings us to the last question of this interview, which is the advice to the entrepreneurs who are scared to make the jump, who know that probably they might be successful, but they're hesitant. They are not as staunch in their faith as you were when you had to first make the jump. So what would your advice be to those entrepreneurs who are still stuck in some corporate job, which is not probably their life's purpose?
I would say that there is absolutely nothing to be afraid of, right? Your life is shaped by the decisions and your indecisions, right? Like, you deciding to stay put somewhere, your life forms itself around that idea. When you take the step, right, you're saying that, okay, I don't know what's happening, but I believe that there is something better. Now the world is going to shape around that with a new destination for you, like a new path. You're forging like a new pathway. It's almost like how we create new neural pathways in our mind when we do something different, like simply brushing our teeth with the opposite hand that's our dominant one. So it's the same way with you deciding to go, a direction that there's some sort of like fear around, because you don't know what's on the other end. But just remember that the universe is not this, this universe and world that we live in is not this mean place that wants to harm you. It's actually a place that wants to support you. So if you just say, okay, and you shake the hand of the universe and agree, and just have faith that it's going to support you, you'll find that it will do exactly that. Not saying that you'll be free from obstacles or any sort of trouble that that may come from an error in your thinking, right? But the universe wants to give you everything that you desire. So you just have to make sure that, like, you're not, selling yourself short by trying to control your life by staying in a place that you're familiar with.
Truly wonderful. Thank you so much, Marcel, for coming on our show today and leaving us with really inspiring philosophical words. Those were truly inspiring. I'm sure the e-commerce business owner who is just starting out for probably very shaky or having to come too many challenges would draw inspiration from this particular interview of yours. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I hope Benson Watches does really fantastically well. I'm sure they will, with your sort of faith and the strong philosophy that you hold on to the universe, nurturing everyone's journey if they truly believe in it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And good luck with the podcast. I think it's amazing what you're doing. Taking the stories, right? Because it's not always sitting and teaching people what they should do or telling them what they should do, but you've created a platform for people to share their unique experiences to inspire other people, and I think that that's something that will resonate with your listeners in a much more meaningful way. So thanks for having me, and definitely good luck to you.